Hello, everyone. Overall, the stock market had a really constructive session on Friday. At one point intraday, I wasn't too happy with what was going on in all the other indexes outside of the Nasdaq and Nasdaq 100, but by the close, everything looks good. So for the week, the S&P 500 was able to rally 2.41%. Very impressive week overall, an extremely impressive move off the 200-day moving average as we come back through the 50-day moving average. Volume was also pretty strong today on Friday's session. I'm not sure if it was options expiration or not. Nope. Next week. So that's all good. So the volume surge today isn't due to that. So overall, a pretty good session. NYSE for the 5 days, even though it was slightly down today, was up 1.23%. Remember, oil stocks are weighing on that one, and oil stocks just don't look healthy right now overall. So that's obviously going to impact that index. The Dow Jones Industrial Average also for the week, up 1.84%, slightly lower today, but overall good session. We had a nice intraday move off the lows. With the heavier volume, I would say it's constructive. And of course, the NASDAQ and NASDAQ 100 continue to break out to new all-time highs. Volume was well above, not volume was higher than the day before and above average, well above the normal average of up sessions that we've seen lately. And if we look at the oscillators on the NASDAQ, you can see that there's still room to go before these oscillators get overbought. So there's nothing too detrimental in anything that says that, okay, I would expect more downside pressure before more upside pressure. According to the oscillators, despite us being up however many days in a row, it seems like the NASDAQ. Now, how many days have we been up? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of the past 7. We're still nowhere near overbought, and that can best be seen by the Russell 2000, which was actually down 0.45% today, up 1.2% for the week. But as you can see with its oscillators, there is still a ton of room for this index to run, nowhere near being overbought. So there continues to look like that there's further upside. And that can be seen, of course, in our own long positions. Today, I had one full sell go off intraday. DPZ Domino's Pizza ran through both of my sell stops. My first sell stop was below yesterday's low of day, 114.52. That was an excellent smart decision as it moved below 110.04. But however, on the final sell stop, because I did that, I moved it from 112.10 to 111.17. So at 111.16, I was taken out, and the stock closed at 110.04. So the sell stops did what they were supposed to do and protected us from even more downside damage. But Domino's Pizza on an end-of-day basis, if you're still long the stock, it is definitely a sell. And RDHL on an end-of-day basis is a full sell. Remember, just 2 days ago, I was knocked out on my first half with a move below 17.56, and then my second half whenever it moved below 16, which is, I guess, these lows back here. Or is it 17? I mean, yep, whenever it moved below 17. So whenever it moved below 17, I was knocked out. Of course, by the end of the day, it came back to close at 17.02, so it wasn't a full sell signal on an end-of-day basis, just a 50%er. But after today's gap down and then sell off, closing at 16.25 on very heavy volume, it is now definitely, no matter what, an end-of-day sell signal. And intraday, I got cut out of two stocks, partially. GWPH, remember I had my first sell stop below 124.51. It traded below that today. Of course, it's come back higher and closed at 124.85. No big deal. Still half the position with a 118.20 sell stop left. So we'll see if GWPH works out. If it re-breaks out again, we'll buy it back. That's all we can do. And then also FDEF. I'm not sure, but I got a notification from Interactive Brokers that earnings were either after the bell today or before or after the bell on Monday. Either way, my first sell stop was below all these support levels, 36.27. It ripped through that, hitting 36.03 intraday. It, of course, like everything else, has come back and closed higher, 36.62, so it's knocked me out of half. My final sell stop on the position is, that looks right, I think it's 35.11, so 35.10. If it hits 35.10, I'll be knocked out of FDEF. If FDEF gaps up and breaks out and runs tomorrow, whatever. Or on Monday, doesn't matter. But I got knocked out of half of it. But by an end-of-day basis, it's fine. So FDEF and GWPH were the two shakeouts, and they're both fine by the end of the day. DPZ is a true failure. RDHL is a true failure, and that is it. There really wasn't much going on. I have two new long positions. Before I get to those, I want to show you the two stocks that we were playing or watching intraday today. THCZ, That's an over-the-counter bulletin board stock, so I can't show you it. But if you look at the end of the day, you can see the price run. This was an earnings winner in the morning. Actively traded all over the day trading chat rooms, and by the end of the day, it had its little lift into the close. So expecting it to gap up in the morning, that was a good play. And VLTC, the billionaire play, continues to do well. Since it started to move on the 13th, it's now up 50% on a closing basis, but we all started to monitor this one basically whenever it crossed above the 5 level and woke up because it had some volume as it was breaking out, but it continues higher. Now there it is at 989. So one to continue to watch, see if there's going to be more momentum upside. Big morning gap up on this one. Then we'll be looking for a parabolic morning run up for a shorting opportunity. So just something to keep an eye on. Of course, Google, tell you what, pretty impressive. You look at Google, look at Amazon, you look at eBay, it's pretty hard to be too, bearish in this market. Netflix. And that's why, once again, when we get new long signals, we're going to keep taking them. BSTC is a very high quality long signal this evening. Don't like the direction of the oscillators in any of it, but I can see that my Stokes and RSI are trying to round up, so I guess that's okay. Really don't really care when it comes to that anyway. But BSTC is a high quality CanSlim stock, and it's also a perfect speculator scan stock. I don't think it's been in the perfect speculator scan for a little bit. It's been in the PS2 scan, pre-perfect speculator scan, but it's now made the main one. So it's having a back-to-back pocket pivot point signal session. Volume well above average, and BOP, as you can see over here, has been rising the last 2 sessions. We don't risk much if we're wrong on the first half of the position. I recommend the first initial sell stop below the 51 level, and then the final one below 48.74 for me, because that's the absolute low in this current consolidation it's making. But you could also make it the low a day here of the past 3 days, which is 49.80. So 49.80 will work if it's up to your risk tolerance, or 48.74. Doesn't matter. 48.74 is my final sell stop. First one will be below 51. But BSTC, 2.5% of the account capital and go into this. If we were under a buy condition across the board, this would be a 5%er because it's CanSlim and perfect speculator scan quality, and it was also confirmed in the price volume BOP scan, which would make it an easy 5%er. But since we're under half buy, half neutral condition, and this really base isn't the longest, and how I always look at that is that you want to see it look kind of symmetrical to the previous uptrend from May to June here. The 20 and 10-day moving average is touching. I didn't think it was, so that is a good first step for any move. But if this base was a little bit longer, I'd be much happier with the long signal here. So that is our new long position. And then we also have an add in WSBF, pocket pivot point signal on heavier volume, above average volume, and volume that's much higher than any of the sessions that we've seen recently since it started this little consolidation period over the past week and a half. But so WSBF, nice pocket pivot point signal. The only problem is that BOPs was max green BOP for about, I don't know, it seemed like 15 to however many days, and then it slowly started to lose it. It lost max green BOP slightly yesterday, falling slightly from the max green BOP, and on today's move it's lost a little bit further. Still not going to be too worried about it. The overall chart pattern is still pretty clear. Stock looks like it's coiled for a big breakout from a very tight price consolidation pattern. And if we're wrong, we only risked a 13.12 before we know we are wrong on the trade. So overall, everything looks good. Only flagged JAH besides that. Not a new long position because it's just this little base right here, 1, 2, 3, 4 day base needs to be at least 10 days to become symmetrical to this overall longer pattern following this little cup pattern I just tried to put in right there. And then also MOFG followed through, flagged it on the 15th. Now I'm flagging it again on the 17th. This is a good one, just kind of a wedgy breakout. Once again, going back to that 10-20 day moving average. As you can see here, the 20-day moving average didn't kiss the intraday price action, which means it's a little extended. And you can see it's kind of doing the same thing here, so it's not a safe enough long position for me. So BSTC 2.5, WSBF 1, full sells, RDHL, DPZ.